Welcome to GA Flying. This will be the first video where we will discuss a plane, well, an aircraft different than the Cohen Sim S76. So if it's the first video that you are watching, there's also a series about this highly automated helicopter on my channel. We are in Canada. As you can see, the weather is kind of okay, which will be also important. Let us just move to our plane today. And let's also start with a small tip. So in MS 2024, you can run by using space. It's also something that I did discover lately. It seems to not always be working, like the toggle wouldn't register, but in this case, it was. Okay, so let's talk about the Aerostar then. It's still in early access, but it's out for around 2 months, I think. And A2A pretty much delivers a new patch every week. So what you see here is the latest patch. I think it was like published last week. And I can even show you what changes were made if I can find it. Yeah, here. Obviously, you can like stop the video to take a look. This is one of the users of the official MSFS forums, and this person is always providing the news, copying them from the website of A2A. This time there is not much new, I guess. Pretty much the only thing that seems important to me is a 5th livery. Sadly, I won't be showing it to you today, because the state of my plane is tied to the livery that I have from the beginning. It's possible to change, but it needs some editing of files. Okay. So as you maybe have heard, all of the planes of A2A, so currently 2 planes in MSFS, have a very advanced wear and tear system, including failures. When it comes to this one, because of early access, it's still not fully ready, especially the systems that are protected by breakers are not active now. There is like a small exception from the prior patch, I guess, or this one, that the fuel pumps are now connected to the failure system. Okay, but let's just talk about flying here. So why are we in Canada? I'm actually doing like a world tour with this one, and I'm not just doing it like normally in MSFS, but I'm using an economy plugin. In this case, FS Economy. Let me just show you how it's looking like. Okay, I can see some problems with the browser now. Okay, it should be here. Okay, let me move it here. So this is our current flight, and I will also show you the route here that we will be taking. We are in Havre, Saint-Pierre, and we are going to Natashkan. Okay, and as I said, this is part of my world tour. It's actually not the first one that I'm doing. I have never finished one, but was very close, the last one, when I was doing it. And the limitation that I'm using to keep it challenging and fun is that I'm only using radio navigation. So you can see our destination today does have a VOR. So we will be using it not only to find the destination airport, because this shouldn't be difficult because it's like close to the water, but also to do the approach. There is a problem with this whole region, that whenever I'm flying here, there is always fog, right? So we might have to do a landing without much visibility. And I can also show you what we will use for this one. So we will probably, if there will be no visibility, we will be using a VOR approach, this one that you see here. I have done it last time because I was doing this flight before, but I had to turn back because there was absolutely nothing visible. Like the fog was so close to the ground that I couldn't see the runway at all. And here we can see, let me just zoom in, there is a slight offset. So I pretty much arrived here and was still not seeing the runway at all. So I had to move back to where we are now. When I was coming back here, there also appeared a lot of fog. So if it would be a little bit later, I would be also not able to land. This runway is actually in the middle of swamps, right? And it's pretty much always foggy. So let's just hope that we will be able to do it now. Okay. I was talking about the world tour, so I kind of want to show you what the progress is. So I'm not only using FS Economy to earn some virtual money for fun, but I'm also doing it because it's tracking everything that is happening, like with a plane, with an aircraft. So this is my own Aerostar that I have bought like with virtual money on the FS Economy. And the whole history of a plane is pretty much saved in the system because it is, well, partially multiplayer. And let me just explain how it's working. So let me just get view maps. This is me, all of the flights with this plane. And you can see that I pretty much bought my plane here from another player. And this is the path that I have taken till now. Last time when I was doing the world tour, I was using the West Coast, right, up until Alaska. But here I want to start this way. And I wasn't really exploring much of Canada in the tours before that I was doing. The problem with Canada and this specific world tour is that when it comes to VOR, they have deactivated most of them. So some of them only work as DME, so they only provide you the distance left, right, to the source, but they are no longer providing like not the navigation path, right, the one on HSI that you have to follow. So you will see how this will work here. Actually, when it comes to VORs and radio navigation in the United States, there is no problem at all. So it's mostly some parts of Europe and Canada, sadly, that are deactivating so many of those that it really makes it difficult to navigate. I think today this shouldn't be a problem. This VOR I have tested already. Okay? And just to show you my last tour that I have done also on FS Economy. And so this was the Aerostar, right? And this is the second plane that I own. Okay. There's more here. This lane is a bug. It happens every time that you kind of fly to the other the other half of the Earth, I guess, of our planet. That's saying this normal path is pretty much what I have done. So I started in South America. This is where I bought the plane cheaply on MSF Economy, on FS Economy. And then I moved here over Alaska, through the ocean here, this side through Japan. In those two parts, I think here I almost died in the Andes, so the mountains here, because it was just too high for the naturally aspirated like engine of the Cessna, right? And the second place where I almost died was here, because I did check the weather, but didn't check the weather forecast. And when I was flying here, I got into the first monsoon of the season, right? A mega typhoon that was forming here. Luckily, when it comes to bad weather, it's like, as I said in one of the first videos, it's not really a problem in MSFS because it doesn't influence the plane much. So as long as I was in the air, the storm was not really influencing the small Cessna. But as soon as I wanted to land, suddenly I could feel the whole force like of the storm. But somehow I was able to land without visibility and almost without control, right? So check your weather forecasts, especially if you are going over the sea. Okay, and coming back to the Aerostar, just to show you some more history of the plane, which is something that I also like, that it's not only you that is adding to the history of a plane, but also other people. So this is the Aerostar, and this is the prior owner. And as you can see, the prior owner bought it in South America. He was the first one, so he bought it probably like from an NPC, right, from the system, and brought it to North America, where he sold it on the market, and I bought it. And it's not only planes that are owned by many players, but it's a lot of stuff that is happening on FS Economy. So for example, those jobs are green, which means that they are generated by players pretty much. But in order for players to be able to do it, they have to bring building materials, fuel, and stuff to the airports. And also, this is my plane, right? And when I was refueling it, I could buy the fuel from players that have to transport it here. Okay? So as you can see, there is like a very big multiplayer factor here. That's saying you're obviously not meeting those other players, right? It's just the economy that is shared among all. Also, from time to time, the plane here gets damaged. It needs some servicing, and then you are also paying for the servicing to players, okay, that own like FBOs at those airports. There are auctions for those FBOs. There are also like a lot of player-run companies. So for example, there are many leasing companies. So if you want to lease a plane, you can also do it. And they have like their own channels on Discord, the financial plans and stuff, it's all like simulated. Well, maybe not as close to reality as possible, but just to have fun. That saying, it sounds like it's very advanced, but in reality, it's really simplified, right? The flying itself, apart from the shared economy, there is not really much happening here. So in this case, it just generated that there is a job from the airport that I was at, as I said, totally randomly, because I had to like emergency land because of the fog, and randomly to the airport that I need to go to, right? So I was just lucky. Normally when I'm doing those world tours, I'm not really looking at those jobs too much. If there is a job that kind of is on the way, then I'm taking it. So here I was just lucky. Okay, when it comes to FS Economy, like in general, I think many people can have a problem with it because it's pretty retro, I guess. I'm not sure if it's the oldest economy plugin, like for flight sims, but it's for sure one of the oldest. And like to open an account, you have to first open a forums account, then write on the forum, and then they will like create an account for you in the game. So it's like, well, it's not very modern, like in any way. Still, over the years, I have pretty much tested most, I guess, of the economy plugins, including the career mode in MS 2024. And I'm pretty much coming back to FS Economy all the time. Maybe also because it's free, right? So you can like use it for many years, build your like history on it, and still you don't have to pay anything. And like with the paid options, you would accumulate a lot of like payments over the months, over the years, right? So once again, it's for sure not for everyone, but like there are very few flights outside of airliners that I'm not taking in FS Economy. Pretty much everything that I'm flying like and is GA, I'm flying in FS Economy to just have this additional fun, to build my banking account, to build the history of the plane. And it's also not very intrusive, right? And it gives you some ideas for some routes. Sometimes they are pretty random, so they don't bring you to like interesting places, but other times you can discover something really special this way. Okay, so that was a lot of talking about stuff that is not the plane. So let us then go back maybe to the simulator then. As you can probably hear, I do have a new microphone. I'm still checking it out. It might be too loud or too silent. So please let me know what you think about the sound. There's like a million settings that I have to learn, a million filters, and let me just adjust it so it sounds fine for you. Okay, so we are in the sim. We will need some fuel, so let me just go back to FS economy. So the fuel that I have bought is 110 gallons, right? So let me go back to the sim, open the EFB of this specific plane, and here it's 100, so we need 10 more, okay? So in this plane, we are always first loading like the main tank and then the wing tanks. Okay. In this case, let me just start FS economy. Okay, for the flight, I will show you. This is one of the two clients that we can use for MSFS, but there is also like a client for X-plane. So when I was still flying both sims at the same time, I could like on one day fly with one plane in X-plane, on the other one in MSFS, and it was still contributing to my like account in FSA, flight sim economy, right? So we just start the flight, and it loads those 5 people, I think. Yeah. So now we'll just simulate that we have them loaded. In many planes, FS economy will load those people automatically, but in the planes that use like the EFB of MSFS 2024, you have to do it by hand, which most of the time it's even better, right? Because the planes have their own EFBs that are much better than like the natural loading of MSFS. Okay, so we have it loaded then. So let's just do the walk around, which is also something that the A2A planes are known for. So as we have like fueled up, we can now check if we have fuel for sure, right? It seems to be there. Okay. Ailerons, okay. Flaps okay, are not supposed to move. Let's get rid of the chocks. They always change how the line works, okay. Now it's off. Checking, moving, okay. We don't want to crash, because when I'm doing those world tours, right, then I'm only like using one life. So if it's not a bug, then and I'm like naturally crashing, then I will just like interrupt the world tour. In the prior one, I had one of the engines fail on me, but luckily there was always like an airport close to me, so I was able to land. That saying, the prior one was done in the Cessna, right, from Milvis. In this one, I had not seen any failures yet. It might happen. Okay, so crouching with C. And let's just check the tanks, if we have no water in the tanks. Okay, seems fine. Seems fine. And this one also seems fine. Okay. Okay, flaps, ailerons. I think it's fine. Fuel, it's there. Too much clicking. Let's bring it back. Okay, and also the center tank, we do have fuel. Okay, so it's pretty much working like in the Comanche, right, from A2A. Let me make sure that everything is off, because it's always like harder to concentrate if you're talking. Okay, and we can click here to get in. Let's just close the, okay, once again. And we close it on the top here. So when it comes to the overall state of the plane, I can finally say plane after the helicopter series. Normally I'm always mixing it up. So when it comes to the plane, it's getting better and better pretty much with every patch. And the nice thing about like this early access is that there are also a lot of like ideas from the community, and some of them are getting introduced. So for example, they have introduced this cabin air temperature indicator, right? Because before, if you wanted to know if it's like too cold or too hot inside, then you always had to open the EFB, right? Which is not very immersive if you are just flying with radio navigation or pretending that it's like retro flying. So now you no longer have to use this one, right, to see if it's too hot, but you can just look here. Okay. I haven't flown it for like 2 weeks, so let's hope I remember. Okay, beacon. Battery beacon, okay. Propellers here. Okay, we need a little bit of throttle, as far as I remember, somewhere here. Okay. I see I forgot to turn off the fuel pumps the last time. There is state saving here. I do hope I still have like a good battery. It's fine. Okay. There is a very slight sound. Okay, seems to be working. And the same here. Because I think according to the notes, the fuel pumps are the part that is now under the breakers as the first one. Because before, I think there was no failure possible. I don't know, I don't see here. Okay. Either way, let's just start with this engine. Let's make sure that we have the handbrake on. Okay, let me double check if I have like launched FS economy. It's here, that's fine. Oh, and what I forgot to say, you can also rent planes from other people. And this is actually the most popular way to do it. So if you own a plane and are not flying it much, you can just rent it out to other players. And in the beginning, when you start FS economy and you don't have much money, right, then you will be most of the time renting out the plane for a couple of hours. Okay, let's just stop talking and start flying finally. Okay, so what do I need here? A boost pump. Okay. Okay, and what happens now? So now as we have like turned on the boost pump, we have like fuel pressure here. So now what we need to do is prime the engine a little bit. There are many ways to do it, and there are like a lot of fights on the official forum on how to do it. I'm doing what I saw like in the real video. That's saying in the video they were also not sure. They were also saying that it doesn't always work. So for me, it works most of the time. So let me just show you. Mixture for around 4 seconds, right? So 2, 3, 4. Okay. Ignition. Okay, and it's actually not working. I think it was like always working. Okay, so let me check what can be wrong here. Maybe they have changed something in like the fuel logic. Let me just see those notes. Sorry, not this one, obviously. This one. Okay. Okay, fuel valve breakers have impact. Okay. Suction gone. Okay. Nothing that would suggest what might be wrong here, so I hope like it's not the end of this video. Let's just see. Maybe I'm forgetting something, but I don't think so. So we do have fuel, right? Okay, we do have the fuel pump on, this one on. Let's turn on the boost pump. I will try it with this one. Maybe it will be better. Okay, so we do have fuel pressure on the left side. Let's just do it for 4 seconds. 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay, now I was able to catch it. So in general, the method seems to still be working. Okay, let's try it for the other one, maybe a little bit longer. In the real video, they said they do it like this one, but it's also like 50-50 if it works. So maybe they made it a little bit more realistic. Okay, let me just get some current from the one that is working now. So the left one. Okay, and let me try it again with this one. So fuel pump, booster pump, pump. Okay. Not full for seconds, a little bit like shorter of a time, and let's see. Okay, this is something new. I have done a lot, I don't know, 20 flights with this one. And it was working. We do have this tablet here where we can check if anything is wrong, right? But it's kind of, when I'm doing this world tours, I'm trying to inspect myself what it could be without cheating, especially when I'm on small airports where I normally would not get this service, right? Let me try it one last time, because it did work with one of the engines, so maybe it will work with the other one. Okay. Okay. 2, 3, 4. I haven't flooded the engine before in this one, so maybe this will be the first time. Strange. Maybe we do have a failure here, so okay. Let's not burn out the igniter here. I'm afraid in this specific case I will have to check the tablet then. Okay, so let me just see. Right engine, engine, not this one. Yeah. No, it's all green. Okay, let me see here. This might mean something. It's hard for me to say because, as I say, I'm trying not to cheat. Every problem that was spotted before I could just solve by normally operating the plane, right? Strange. Okay, let's just check the general status. Low voltage. Okay, this might be a problem. So maybe the generator, the alternator is not providing enough current to load the battery. Oh, but it should be fine. So it's just the battery that might not have enough. Okay, let's not give up, right? Yeah, this is definitely the YouTube factor because, as I said, normally it was fine. Okay, fuel pump, fine. Hydraulic valve, okay. Blower, there's nothing strange, and also the inspection doesn't show anything. Let me just take a look. Maybe there's something blocking it from the outside. Okay, so maybe it's not a good idea to leave the plane now. Let me just close it. Let's try to do it in a realistic way then. One sad thing is that the door is very automatic, right? When it comes to the real plane, there were some accidents when this didn't correctly lock. So I would wish that they would introduce it as a possible failure, because there is a lot to click here and to move here, but it's just all done automatically currently. Okay, let me try to launch the second engine to start it. How do I do it? I'll just turn this one off. I don't think crossfeed makes any sense. This was supposed to be a short video, so sorry for that. I will probably finally solve it, so you're free to like move forward if you're bored here. And let's just see. Okay, just do it. And we can see this one moving, fuel flow. We do have fuel flow, so the pump is working. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. It's just not catching for some reason. Okay. I'm wondering if it's like the new logic that is messing up something here. Let me just take a look at those. So fuel valves should have like a working breaker now. Okay, not really, as far as I can see. Maybe there are breakers here, like in the Comanche. Okay, I'll see them. Okay. We could try to dry motor it, but I'm afraid that the battery is already like in a bad state. Let's just add some more power to the other one, so the alternator is working. So maybe we'll get some current this way. Maybe turn this off. Turn this off. We have it here. We have it here. Maybe let's do crossfeed. It was never needed before, but maybe that there is a problem here. And let's just see. Let's think we do have like fuel flow. Okay. Okay. And we do have fuel flow here. So it seems to be possibly like a problem with the ignition. Might be the weak battery already. Okay. Okay. That was too long, but I would assume it would be flooded normally. But we can just dry run it, maybe it will catch. I think for a moment there was something, but it was just too slow. Actually, like in the real video that I saw, they also had like serious problems. But in this case, okay, so we can hear that the ignition, like that the rotation is getting slower and slower. So there might be a problem with the battery. Let me just check this one. This obviously shows the ammeter, right? And no, not the real battery. Maybe I can... No, I don't think so. Okay, so another thing that we can do is getting this one. Okay, so now it's very low voltage, right? Yeah, okay, so sadly. In this case, just not to prolong the video too much, right? I will just regenerate the battery here. Normally, I would turn everything like off. I would pretend that I'm like repairing it and proceed with the flight in an hour, right? But I won't be doing it to you guys. I will just fix the battery. But at least we saw that everything is really simulated, right? Okay. So now with a fresh battery, I'm like positive that it needs to work now. Okay, so let us see. Okay, so the fuel should be already in the system, even too much of it. So booster, the fuel pump is on. Okay, and there is like a wet sound, which tells you that it's catching now. Okay, and it works. So easy. Okay, navigation lights. What else do I normally use here? I think this is all for now. Now let's just reduce the mixture, because we don't want to foul the spark plugs, which is also like simulated here. It should go down to around 10 RPM, right? RPM. Actually, this plane needs a lot of leaning, which we will discuss once we are in the air. Okay, so now that it's on, and it seems to be working, everything moves into the green. We are still waiting for the temperature of the second engine, obviously. We can just start using the avionics and the auto trim for the autopilot. And as I said, we are only flying with radio navigation, so we will just set it up in a minute. Okay. Let me just show it to you from the outside. It might be a little bit loud, or not. There is some difference in sound, but like a lot of the sounds are still missing, and they are pretty much adding some sounds every patch. Okay. So what we need is like the barrel reference for the altimeter. So let me just get sky vector. We do have meter for this one. Whoa, very strong wind. Okay, from direction 240. Gusting 23 knots. Okay, so maybe I will just crash it when taking off, and it will be really like a short stream. But jokes aside, 2962. Okay. Oops. Should be somewhere here. We need the DME. You can put this one on standby. Let's check how hot it is. 20 degrees. Okay, so we shouldn't have any problems. We can just confirm that it's filled correctly. We can set it up by hand, tell him how much fuel we have, but I will just use this one, update digital engine monitor. Okay, so let's turn on the radios, which is also nice, and do everything by hand. And let's go back to Sky Vector, right, to get this VOR. 113.6. Okay, maybe it's saved because I was using it the last flight, and as I said, we do have state saving, so 113.6. Yeah, and it's here even in both of those. So let me see, we don't have a DME reading now, it should be like around 70 miles out. Okay, so this is all on, this is fine. As I said, I haven't flown it for some time, so I'm always afraid that I will forget something. But from what I see, it should be fine. We don't need pitot heat because it's just too hot right now. Okay, this is set up, Let's just get like a direction for us. So once again, let's go back to Sky Vector. And we have set up like the departure and the destination here. So it will show us the course needed to arrive at the VOR, right? In this case, like at the airport. So 112. Okay? So let us go back to our plane. And we will want the radio 112. Okay, so this is 11. Here should be this one, and also the heading back. It's a little bit slow. Okay, because this is like 90, this is 100, this is 110. Okay, and like the Cessna from Milvis, I don't know, there was like a nice course indicator thing from what I remember. Okay, let me just see. We pretty much have all of the advanced options on, with the exception of one. I'll just turn the volume down because I think it's a little bit too loud for you guys when I'm speaking. Okay. Oh, when it comes to like the simulated functions, so I have everything on in the plane, apart from the realistic steering, which is done with this one. And it's really annoying, so up until now I have not turned this on. Okay, so we have everything, and we will taxi to the runway that will be against the wind. Let me just look at this one because I never remember. The wind is from the direction 24, right? So it's blowing from here, so we will start from this direction. I also have charts, but I have only opened like the charts from the destination airport to show you. Just a small double check, everything is now in the green. Okay. This is fine, this is fine, this is fine. So I guess we can just start. Let me just move to my pedals then. We will sadly run through this one, but I cannot do anything about this. Okay. So one important detail in this one, if you have like realistic brakes on, you can only disable and enable this one when your brakes are pressed, right? So I'm pressing the brakes on my pedals and turning this off. Okay. Don't look at it. Okay. It didn't happen. Whoa, 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 that's really uneven ground here. I just hope that the runway will be even. Okay, and we will do like a warm-up, right, for the engines. So let me just turn in the direction of the wind. So somewhere, actually we should turn probably more, but the wind is so strong that I think it should be also enough. Okay. Okay. Full mixture, and let's move the RPM to 15 to see if we have like correct suction. This one, it should be in the green. Let's see if the alternators are working. Okay. Right, yeah, working. Okay, now let's move it to 21. Okay, a little bit more. Okay, now we will just exercise the propellers to make sure that like the oil is circulating. Okay. Okay, should be enough. And we will also check the ignition, the magnetos. So I always seem to have a problem with A2A planes, that if I don't wait a very long time, right, after the engines are on, then I get very large drops, which normally shouldn't happen. But like still, let's try it out. As you can see, it's a very big drop. It should be maximum 1.7 and it's 2. But it happens even like with green magnetos. Let's check the other one. The other one is correct, right? It's only 1. Okay. Let me check the other ones. Okay, small drop, this is correct. And small drop, this is correct. Okay. And sometimes when I check the first one again, it will be not as bad as before. As you can see, it's 1.7, so it's correct now, right? So it seems like the first one that you try needs some more, always some more warming up for some reason. Okay. So let's get back to 10 because the temperature is also getting pretty high. That's saying I think this warning is wrong, right? Because it shows the same thing that we see here, and it's like far away from this one. When it comes to those digital displays, there is also like a second one, and I think the second one is correct. So Maybe this really should show this warning, but I don't see it matching, so maybe I just don't understand it. Okay. Either way, now we are ready. Landing lights, strobe lights, pitot is not needed. Hold. Okay. Boost pumps are on. Okay, so I think we can start, although I'm a little bit scared of the gusting wind. So it seems, let's take a look at the meter, if it has changed. So, okay, the direction is the same, 16 knots, gusting 23. Okay, from 24, so it will be, wait a second. Oh, it's possible that we didn't have enough suction for this one, so this is why it has like turned now. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, let me just see. Maybe I'm just mixing it up, trying to overthink it. Okay. Yeah, so it has turned. So it's possible that like we didn't provide enough suction, right? Because the engines were running low, and this is why it wasn't working correctly, because now it has adjusted itself and is showing us that this is actually west, right? Which seems to be in accordance with what we have now, right? Because we were here, so this, yeah. Let me just make sure that it's properly set up, because there is also gyro drift simulated here. It seems to be fine. Okay, so if the wind is from this direction, right, then we need to go this way. Okay. Normally I'm just always like checking the chart, but this time we had a lot of talking, so I might have missed it. So let's hope that we are doing it correctly, and let's also hope that there will be like a sock that we can use. Oops, it's really uneven here. I don't remember it being like this when I was here the last time. Okay. It's also a pretty short runway, at least on this side. Okay. I can feel the plane being thrown around a little bit, and this is actually a plane with one of the best flight models in 2024, so I can really recommend it. Oh, and it's only for 2024, right? You cannot fly it in 2020. Okay, so let's set up here. It's pretty short. I do remember it being longer, but it was very foggy the last time, as I said, when I was here. So next thing that we need is flaps. So you can either start, from what I remember, clean or with flaps 10. As the runway is pretty short here, I would just move it to flaps 10. And you need to stop it when you want to stop, right? Because it's just like a fluid motion. It's not in steps. Okay. Okay, so we have this one, we have this one, this one. The trim is fine, it's neutral. I don't remember if in the manual there was like a recommended trim setting for takeoff. Maybe there's a table, but I didn't see it. So we will just start with trim neutral. Okay. And let me just start then, and let's hope for the best. Let's just double check the wind, so I do remember where it comes from. 240. Okay. So slightly from the left. Okay. So let us start then and change the view so I see the instruments. Okay. And let's do it. We can do full throttle in this plane. I do remind you that we have like 5 people on board, so all of the seats are occupied, right? normally it has like a lot of power left, but in this case, barely. Okay, so we are above the swamps. The orange light is actually realistic. In the beginning it was not orange, so every time I'm seeing it now I'm just like totally stressed because it doesn't seem correct, but it is actually. Okay, so let's just reduce to 25 manifold pressure after the start, and we will also reduce the propellers to the green band. Okay. We don't need the boost pumps anymore, and we are turning. Okay. It's a little bit hot, but according to the analog one we are still in the green. And I will just show you the autopilot in a minute and some other stuff. Let me just show it to you from the outside. Okay. So actually, when it comes like to the visuals, I'm not a big fan, and this is also talking about like how the original plane looks like. I think it looks awkward, right? But I have already seen in some of the flaps up, in some of the new liveries, that it seems to look a little bit better. Yeah. Obviously, I've missed it, right? You should operate the flaps before you left the wide range, but I hope you forgive me. I was just trying to show it to you from the outside. Okay, so what we will be doing here, I'm now trimming the plane. I would like to go up around 3,000 feet, I guess, just so we see some of the terrain, but don't go into those scary looking clouds. So here, like, it's a moment that I'm missing the weather radar of the Cohensim S76, right? Because here it's hard to say what the clouds are with MSFS. Okay, so let's climb a little bit. Let me enable the autopilot, but it's still not enabling any autopilot modes. It's still off, right? It's just like activating the servos. And we can see we do have the VOR that we have set up here. Okay, and we can see the line. Luckily, in this case, we can see the ground, but I'm afraid this might end soon. So let me just show you the autopilot mode. So autopilot on, okay. And altitude hold. Okay. And you can see it's going down. And I will also want to follow the heading. It's actually like the standard mode here. So heading, altitude, and the autopilot is on. As you can see, the operation of the autopilot is very fluent, right? So this is not a problem with this one. And now let him catch this radio. So now. Catching the radio wasn't always working correctly in this one. Sometimes there were problems. It was like moving too far on one side and the other side, and it was kind of oscillating like on the line. But I think they have improved it slightly. As you can see, the speed, this is like a high performance plane, even with those people loaded. So we are going pretty fast, so it shouldn't be a long wait. Okay, let me just do a control of everything. We don't need the landing lights. Let me check the temperature. Okay, it's 16, so still no icing conditions. And here, as I said, it's trying to catch the radial, but it's not really doing like a perfect job. With time it will settle on the radial, but yeah, it might take some time. Other stuff, let's just adjust the plane. I'm afraid we won't have visibility like no matter what we do, because the clouds seem to be pretty low. So we can as well climb to a higher altitude. So in this case we will use ATT, okay, and we'll need the slider here to move up, okay, and as you can see we get positive vertical speed. You have to control the speed here, right, because it's a pretty simple autopilot and it's not keeping you safe, right, if you don't know what you're doing. It's saying, let me adjust the slider a little bit. Now it's settling on the radio. So as you could see, it's like a pretty long process, and if this would be like a complicated radio navigation based approach, this might be a problem that it takes him like so much time. And actually the approach that I was showing you will be complicated. So let me just find the right chart, right? So we will join via the radial 116, fly over the VOR here, and then in 10 miles while going down to 1500 we will do this turn, and at 1500 we will come back, and then once we are 4 miles from the VOR we will start going down. And this is like a standard 3-degree slope. So, and we will be going probably around 120, so we will need around 600 vertical speed. This is one of the more fun things that you can do when you are flying radio navigation, because sometimes those old radio navigation approaches are really crazy. This one is not that bad. Okay, I would like around 3000 feet, so here we are at 3500, so this is enough. Let me switch to altitude hold. You can see it's getting like a little bit cold inside, so you can just use the heat. Here let's let air in, right? And now let's heat this air with this one. Okay. We can take off some of the manifold pressure, right? Some of the throttle. This one we can also move down to 22. Obviously there are like tables for every altitude that you can use, but there are some like of my favorite ones. Okay. We do have a pretty like high oscillation of those ones, but they are not broken according to the inspection. And this is also like something about A2A needles, that they are pretty dynamic, right? Okay, and now we can start to lean. So in this specific plane we do have lean assist, right? So let me just click this one, lean find. Okay, and now we can move the mixture back. And in this plane most of the time we need to do it a lot. So visually it's much more than in other planes that I own. Okay, and this will start going down, and once it has settled we will do it slowly to find the peak here. Okay. So we have some nice clouds, and actually this is something that I want to show you. Just need to check how fast we are flying and how far away we are. Okay. So this is obviously Navigraph, right? This is payware. You have to pay every month for it. But before I was like spending money on it, I was just using SkyVector. So just to show you, we are in Canada, so this is not available to us, but everything in the United States, so let's move back south. Is it the United States here? When you have any, well, more major airport than like a dirt strip, you will get those for free. So you're just clicking on the airport, moving on the airport description, and you will get the charts totally for free. So if you are short on money but want to have all of the charts, right, then you can just limit yourself to the United States. That saying, in MSFS there is like also a charts provider, but I think those ones are better most of the time. So it depends on what you prefer. One other useful function here is the layers. So for example, you do have weather and sky vector. So in general, because like I started the videos of showing sky vector, this is a tool that is used by real pilots, right? So it's not just for your simulator. And here, depending on the country, you will either use this one on this one, and we can see that there is some cloud cover, but it's hard to say well, how annoying, how disturbing it will be when we will want to land. As I mentioned in the beginning, last time I did this trip, right, and then had to go back because there was no way to safely land. There are some other airports here, but they are like pretty small, and they also don't have much navigation aids. So if I would choose one, then maybe this one. Okay, let's go back to our plane then. Only 30 miles out. One other function that we often have in those like distance measuring equipment indicators like DME is also that we can check the speed. So especially in like old planes that don't have any like digital ground speed indicators, if you are exactly on the radial, then you can get like a clean reading of what your ground speed is, and also the remaining time if you don't change the speed. So it only shows 10 minutes. Okay. Let me just show you some other views, right? They are improving this engine cone all of the time, because in the beginning it was very ugly. Okay, let me show you around. What they have done is, it will be, well, maybe it will be loud, I don't know, I'm going into the outside view. Okay, so as you can see now, the windows have a tint on them, and I think this also causes like the shadows inside to be deeper, and because of that the plane looks like much better, because before the bright light was making it look really bad. Okay, so now it's, I would say, pretty immersive. Before it was like really bland, pretty much. It was really boring and I didn't enjoy like the feeling inside. Okay, so let's check the temperature once again, because I'm not a fan of those clouds, but according to at least Sky Vector, they were not red, right? Yeah, 16 degrees. Let's check the inside temperature. It's getting colder and colder. This is interesting, because I think like before the changes it was easier to heat it up. So let me just check. Let's also use the inside fan. Maybe I just forgot how it was. Okay, let's go back to leaning, right? Because we forgot it. So let's add some more, because I think it should be somewhere here. And we will see if we have already used too much. In the reality, you have to do it very slowly, right? But I think I remember it's nowhere close here, so we can just add it a little bit faster. Okay, so as you can see, it has pretty much settled. Now we can just do small adjustments. I'm using my scroll wheel. Okay, and we have the peak on the right side, and it's already like lean of peak minus 25, and the optimal is around 25-35. Okay, so this one also went over the peak and is in the right area. Okay, and this one we are nicely, and this way we are nicely leaned. Obviously this also depends like on the temperature, how high you are. There are tables for it in the manual. Okay, so as I said, pretty fast airplane, right? Over 200 knots. So let's brief the approach once again, this time with details. Let me just get rid of the weather, because it's stressing me out. I hope there will be some visibility. Okay, and let me just take a look here. Okay, so there is no height provided at which you should go over the VOR. Sometimes there is, but I don't see it here. So I guess we will just use this one. right? This is the I don't okay, I will not try it. I did remember what this meant, but this is pretty much showing how low you can go, like in the vicinity of the airport, without having the danger of encountering terrain, right? So you can do it 2100, shouldn't be a problem. So let us try to go down. Whoops, you don't need to look at my Xbox account. Okay. Let's just reduce the speed. Okay, I'm just reducing the throttle. And so now obviously like our leaning is not useful anymore, but I just wanted to show you how it's done. And now it's like warmer. So just reduce it. So we need ATT to change like the climb speed. And now I'm just moving it down and we can see we are going down. Something that is I'm really missing in this plane that I had like in the Cessna was like setting altitude preselect, right, when it needs to stop descending. So especially like for complicated approaches, right, radio navigation based ones, it's really useful for the plane to stop where you need to stop at, right? Still, let's go down, it's getting warmer and warmer, and so we can reduce it a little bit more. Let's turn on the landing lights because it's 20 miles to the airport with like, oh, this is really depressing. I'm not sure if we will do it today, but still, let's try. Okay, and once we are at 2100, we will stop descending. So let's reduce the throttle a little bit more. Now I can add some mixture because we will be lower. Okay. There seems to be a pretty strong wind because like you can see the plane adjusting. It's not like flying straight. And we can actually check what the weather will be at the destination airport. We will just use Sky Vector. One important information is that those weather stations in many countries are not available during the night, right? So like even if you change the time of the day in the sim back to the day, in Sky Vector, which is based in the real world, it will be still night, right? So there might be no ball here that you can like hover over to get the meter. Okay, so 210, so kind of coming from here. So either way we were planning to go like this, right? So this should be fine for us. And let's adjust the altimeter 2960. Okay, we have some slight turbulence. That's just great. Exactly what I wanted. Okay. Okay, now I forgot the altimeter setting. 2960. Okay. 2960, we had 2962, so a very slight adjustment. And we are coming close to 2100, so let's just reduce the descent speed. Right. And here you have to do everything by hand. And we are actually getting pretty close. I see some strong turbulence here. Okay. And let's use altitude. Okay. And we have almost like catch the 2100 that you wanted. That's saying it was like not a hard limit, right? In future flights I will show some more stuff about like flying with VORs. In this case it's just one, so it was kind of relatively easy. Let me adjust the heading back for the true. Okay, you can see the water. Okay, engine pumps on because I will forget later because there will be like a lot to do with this manual approach. Okay, and once we will be close to the VOR, we will change to heading hold, because otherwise we will get into the like cone of confusion and this will go crazy. So I guess, okay, let's wait a little bit more because there's strong wind, so it might move us away from the needed course. Okay, I can hear rain. It's splendid. Okay. Okay, 29, so it's too hot. Okay, let me just adjust the mixture because there will be no time for it later. So you will burn some more like dollars, right? Okay. The weather is even worse than the last time that I was trying to land here, which might be interesting. Let me reduce the speed a little bit more. I'm not sure what the like safe turbulence speed is in this one. Let me see if we can designated maneuvering speed. So it's 162, so we are kind of close to it. Okay, let's see if there is no icing. No, so at least one problem that we won't have here. Okay, just doing a quick check of everything. It's getting really hot, so let's just get rid of it altogether. Okay. 3-4 till the VOR. Okay, and I can already switch to heading hold, and I can adjust the course to the one that was mentioned on the approach chart. Actually did it too late. So 116 is the outgoing one that we need. So this is 11, so 116 will be probably somewhere here. Okay, because 116 is 160. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we see some of the ground in some places, so maybe it won't be that bad. Okay, we are like in the cone of confusion, right above the VOR. We can see the runway. Okay, so there is some visibility, which is nice. Okay, now it's still giving us those bad readings, right? This has disappeared, this is going crazy, that's showing us that the VOR is behind us. Okay, and now it should slowly come back to like proper readings. But not yet. Okay, let me just adjust a little bit. Okay, 1.6, and now we can start descending. Okay, as you can see, slowly descending to 1500. So sadly, no place where we can set 1500, we just need to do it by hand. And this is also like not a vertical speed control. So because we are going down, the plane is getting faster, and because it's getting faster, this is going up instead of down, right? So it's like a very manual thing to do. It's not even holding like the vertical speed. Okay. Let me just use nav to get this outgoing radial, 116. Okay, now we are going down, but we need to watch out. It's a little bit too fast now. So let's adjust. It should go up. Let's adjust a little bit more. Okay. Okay, and we are looking for 1600. So here we are. Hold. And in 10 miles we will start our turn. Okay. So still a little bit like a little way out. In this case, I will just move the propellers to max, because then there will be too much work to remember about it. Luckily in this one, it's not like in the Comanche. When you did it in the Comanche, like for 3 minutes, it tended to already damage like a used engine, right? I was flying the Comanche for like 1000 miles and always pretty much had problems at like final approach when going to full RPM. You can see now very strong wind, I think. Okay, and let me show you the approach chart. So around 10 miles we have to do this turn. to 071. Okay. Let me change to heading hold. Okay. I might do it in 9 because this is like also like an approach for larger planes, right? So we have a little bit more room to maneuver. So 071. This is 07. And this should be 071. And while I'm doing it, I need the back curves, right, that I will be approaching the airport with. And this is 296. Okay, so let's move it back. This is 29er and 296. Okay. Let's see what like the heading will be that we will be moving back on with this one, 251. Okay. There are so many mistakes that you can do, especially with this plane where you have to do everything by hand. And the weather is, oh my god, okay. It's definitely not helping. Okay, so let's move back. Sometimes I was also flying those approaches among the mountains, so then you need to really keep an eye out for this one, because if you go too far, like from the path, you can just crash, right? Okay, at least it's nice and warm, right? 18 degrees. Okay, so we are doing the turn to catch like the VOR radio. It's not a localizer, sadly, because they are like more precise. I mean, there are reasons why people not use VORs mainly for navigation nowadays, because it's a lot of work. And obviously, sooner or later, somebody will make a mistake, right, when doing it. Do I trust the nav button or not? Okay, let's trust it. Okay, so we are 12 miles out, so still a lot of room to maneuver, to do everything that they want us to do. Let me show you the outside view, might be a little bit louder. And let's take a look at the approach chart. So I was thinking it was supposed to be 1,600, so we need to reduce it to 1,500, and then once the DME reads 4 miles, right, 4.4, we will start with our descent with our speed with around 600 vertical speed. Okay. And then this is also offset, right, so we will not arrive at the right course, I guess. We will have to do a turn. Okay, so let me move down to 1,500 for it to be like totally correct. Once again, everything by hand, but it's not so bad. I can see something, so this is already an improvement. Okay, let's do a little bit more. And I hope it's like not the end of my world tour, but we will see. Okay, let me move this back here if we need it. So we are already a little bit too low, so let's catch it. We are already over 1,500, but at least it seems like we have a little bit less turbulence here. Okay, and we are waiting for 4.4. Okay, I'll just use all of those. This is fine, fine, fine. Fine, let's look if we have no failures, everything is working correctly. And just FYI about this one, it might be too long that we're holding into max, but we will see. I will show you like the inspection after the video, if I remember. Okay, looks promising. This doesn't look promising because it reaches the ground right here. And we are still 7 miles out, so let's see. Okay, we are getting pretty slow, so let me just add some throttle. The approach speed with flaps, from what I remember, is around like 100, 110. So this is what we will be aiming for. Okay, still fine, still fine. Okay, even the temperature is like perfect. Might be a good sign. Okay, so once again, this is not an ILS, right? So we might be off already. VR radios are not designed like for precision approaches, especially in bad visibility. But in this case, sadly, we have no GPS, so this is the only option left for us. Just okay, and we can already start because it takes some time to adjust it. Oops, so we are wasting time. Okay. It's really hard to get it perfect. Okay, let's reduce the speed. We are within flaps range, so I'm lowering flaps to 20. Okay, and the speed should go down. Okay, only 3 miles out. Let me just reduce the speed even more. We can use some additional flaps to reduce the speed. Okay, we are going down. Okay, here let's wait for 3 greens because we have failures in this one, so let's make sure we won't get any. Okay, this is fine. And I would love to see the runway by now, and I think this is this. Okay, 20 degrees flaps because it's easier to maneuver with them. We have the gear, let me show you. It's such an ugly plane. Okay, in this case, I think I can see the runway and we are going down too much. Okay, so let's just correct here. Let's just add some power. It's really wonderful for like hand flying. Okay. I can already say we were going down too fast, right? This is already not something that would be safe to do, sadly. Okay. Okay, and I moved out of the way of the approach for some reason. Okay, so the airport was here. And so let's do just like a visual circle, I guess, and we can catch it here. Okay, so flaps up to 10. Okay, gear up, and let's just do a circle. Okay, flaps up. Let's just gain some altitude. And let's initiate the turn. Look at this one. As I said, like one of the benefits, like one of the strongest sides of this plane is definitely the hand flying, because it just feels amazing. This together with like the 727 are probably like my favorite planes to hand fly. Okay, so this is like a moment where some head tracking would be great. I did experiment with it, and I actually have something installed already, so for the next videos I can show you. Once again, swamps, fog, perfect. Okay, so let's just move here, gain some altitude. Well, it was like a perfect approach until like I started talking and stopped thinking. Let me just see. We will just do another try. Is this the airport? It's hard to say because like of the color of the ground, everything looks the same here. Okay? Let me just climb a little bit, not too much, take away some of the power. Okay, so it's the second go around that I do at this airport. Okay, so we are 2 miles from the VR, which is kind of at the airport, so we can use this one to know how much we have to go. So I would like to go out around 4 miles, I think, just to be safe, to be able to do a nice turn. Yeah, but it's not so bad. I was afraid we will get like 0 visibility and the strong turbulence that we had before. So all in all, could be worse. But it's just one of the things when you are, well, first doing like a world tour, right, that there's like tens and tens of like airports that you will land on, some of them like in crazy places like here, where there is always fog. And also if you use radio navigation, there is a very big chance that it will be more difficult, right, than just using GPS. It won't just deliver you to the threshold of the runway. Okay, so let me reduce some speed. I will also at the same time try to use some flaps, right? Okay. Trimming. Let me just try to intercept this radio. Trimming. Okay. Flaps down to 10. Agree. Okay. Now let's try to catch the radio. I think it's moving. Yeah. So let's do the turn then. Okay, let's move the flaps to 20 degrees. Okay, I hope the visibility is not getting worse, but we will see. Okay. Let me just trim it down, trim it up. Okay, just add some power. Okay, let's just wait until we are 3 miles out. Now we are on the radio. Okay, the visibility is still pretty bad, but at least we are set up now. It might be that this thingy on the right side is the airport. Let me just gain some height, because we cannot see much over like the trees here. Everything looks the same. Yeah, so this is how like flying accidents happen. Okay, gear down. I think it might be this one here. Okay, we have 3 greens. I'm pretty much doing the same as before, because I'm afraid that I will not arrive at the threshold, so I'm moving to the left, then I won't be able to see it. So let's just go back on the radial then. There is always, when the gear is down, there is always a lot of like pitch up altitude, which makes it harder to see. Okay, so 1 mile out. Oh, I think I see it. It's like totally the same color as the ground. Okay, so let's get rid of some speed. Now like the compass is in the way. Okay, trim. Okay, now we got it. Okay, so let's add some speed. Whoops, small lag. Floaty. Okay. And we have a touchdown. Luckily, it was like a pretty big runway. Okay. So we don't have to repeat the whole world tour this time. Okay, let's move it up. As I said, like in my prior videos, I like to know stuff, like with this approach, right, how to do it. But when it comes to like the agility and being a pro pilot, this doesn't always work. Okay, let us just go around, I mean here. So another nice airport somewhere in Canada. Actually, when I was reading about those airports that I'm visiting, they said that already like the airport 3 airports ago that I was visiting was the last one in Canada with like an asphalt connection, like an uninterrupted one. So this is really far away, right? Despite being close to the United States border, I guess. It's a wild land. Okay, here you can see we had really like some strong wind. I'm always wondering if those airports like in MSFS are correct, because when I was doing the world tour in Explain, there was much more airports with very narrow and very small runways. But like whenever I'm landing at an airport in MSFS, it's like gigantic, like designed for a landing of the space shuttle or something. So I'm still not sure if this is like correct, that it was so easy, because like despite it being so far away, this was such a gigantic runway. Because maybe you don't know, but like in Explain, all of the airports are like corrected by the community, right? So there is like, well, a web page, I guess, where you can submit your corrected airports. And this is why, despite the scenery in MSFS being much more realistic, the airports are actually more realistic, like in Explain. Okay, so we don't need the landing lights, we don't need to blind those people here, strobe lights also not needed. We don't need the boost pumps. Okay, this is already up. Let me just see. The brake would be nice, and we can see FS Economy has registered this flight, and we have received some money for it. So I will just show it in a second. So we don't need the transponder, we don't need the DMA equipment, we don't need the radios anymore. they were doing like a good service with providing this radial, so we could at least try to find the runway threshold. So I don't need autopilot, I don't need the auto trim, and I don't need master avionics. Okay, and here this is all closed, this is fine. This is fine, this is fine, this is fine. Navigation lights are also not needed anymore, and we can just turn off the engines then. Okay, everything seems nice. Nice. Let's turn off the fuel pumps, magnetos. Okay, alternators, and the battery. Okay, very nice. And let me show you how it looked like in FS Economy. And so this is Sky Vector, this is FS Economy, so we are going into the flight logs. And this is the flight that we were taking here. You can see it took around 1 hour, yeah, because of the go around. And let's see, here you can see exactly what has happened, right? There is a ground crew fee. This might mean that there is like a player FBO at this one that is providing services. But at the same time, when you're landing here, you are paying the players, right? So this like multiplayer aspect is not intrusive at all when you're flying, as you could see, right? But at the same time, there is this additional depth, right? That we had the feeling that somebody profited for us doing the flight here. Okay, so let's get back then to our plane. You can see like the crackling of the hot metal in the engines. A beacon light is also not needed, forgot about this one. Here we can turn down the propellers. There is no like tank selection, right? It's only those pumps, so there is nothing else to turn off. Actually, let me turn on the battery because I will forget later to adjust the trim. And now it's neutral for our next flight. As you can see here, the resolution of some of the writing is not the best, but I'm positive that they will improve it as part of the like early access, because as visible here, right, the new parts are already pretty high quality. Okay, so battery off. Let us go out. And as I promised, we will also check if having those propellers on max for such a long time has in any way worn down the engines, the propellers, the shaft, right? So toggle EFB, I like it that you can do it when you're outside, right? So it feels like you're really doing some servicing. Such a nice weather now. Come on, it's so unfair. Okay, still. Maintenance. Inspect the plane, so here it's fine. Engines, inspect, all is green. Engine 1, inspect, all is green. So it's definitely less susceptible to this problem than the Comanche, because as I said, after like 1,000 miles or more, I did start to have those like strange wear down of some of the engine parts. Okay. There's also dirt now accumulating. Actually, if you come near, it doesn't look so good, but like from far away, it looks great. So, chocks. Nice. It's like from swamp flying. Let's see if there's nothing in the engine. I don't think it's a thing here, but like in the Cessna, it could happen after some time that you will get like insects or something. Obviously not during the flight, right? Okay. And it does seem fine now. Yeah. So for now, it's only this stuff that you can do, right? We could check the oil. Normally it would be really hot. You would not do it like so short after the flight, but just to show you. Okay, and it's pretty fresh because I have replaced it the last time, like on the last airport. So we did it despite everything, despite needing this strange approach. Actually, just to sum up, like, so for people that want to understand how it could be made better, so pretty much my mistake was in the last phase of the flight. The radial brought us to the right place, right? But I was a little bit too low because, as I said, this one is not catching the altitude, right? So it's like 2 seconds, you don't catch it going like too low, and then it will be like over, right? So this is the biggest difference when it comes to the safety and comfort of flying this when compared to the Cessna. That the Cessna was catching the altitude, right? So when you had such complicated approaches, you could always count on it to not go too low. And because we were too low, I didn't see the runway because like the trees were in the way. Okay. Such a nice weather. That's so unfair. Okay. So guys, thank you very much. As I said, I did use new audio equipment, so if there were any issues, please let me know. Okay, I will try to adjust. And I will see you in future flights on GA Flying. Bye bye.